All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the National Down Syndrome Society for today's webinar, Resources Recap, Practical Tools to Support Individuals and Families Across the Lifespan. We are thrilled to have you joining us to learn more about the resources we have for individuals with Down syndrome and their families to utilize for free. In our rapidly changing landscape, our goal is to always provide the most up-to-date resources and information to our community. This session will delve into just several of the many resources that we have available in a variety of formats. My name is Olivia Frioli, and I'm the Manager of Community Relations here at NDSS. I'm so thrilled to introduce my colleagues, Charlotte Woodward, who will be joining us a little later on to discuss some of our education-related pieces, and Amy Droe, who will be walking you through the rest of this webinar.
Hi everyone, I'm Amy Droe, I'm excited to be here with you today to walk through a handful of our NDSS resources and how you can share them with your families that you support, or if you are a caregiver yourself, and how you can access them to support your caregiving journey. But first, I'd like to take a moment to share with you that I'm a very proud sibling of my older brother, Michael, who has Down syndrome. We are 3 years apart, and I have grown up immersed in this amazing world, and I'm so blessed to have him in my life.
Before Amy dives in, there are just a couple important housekeeping items that we want to go through to ensure everyone has an enjoyable experience during today's webinar. First, we encourage you all to submit any questions you have using the Q&A feature located near the bottom of your screen. Unfortunately, we won't be able to answer any of your questions live during today's webinar, but please leave your email address alongside your question so a member of our team can get back to you when the webinar concludes. We will also be sharing our staff's contact information at the end, so you can reach out to us if or when any questions arise after the webinar ends today. Secondly, please note that this webinar is being recorded and you will receive a copy of the recording in your email within 1 week, along with a list of the links and resources mentioned during today's presentation. Thank you for your attention there. Now we're going to dive in. First, we're just going to begin by providing some general context regarding NDSS, our mission, and our programs. Founded in 1979, the National Down Syndrome Society's mission is to empower individuals with Down syndrome and their families by driving policy change, providing resources, engaging with local communities, and shifting public perceptions. NDSS supports and advocates for the Down syndrome community by focusing on 3 key areas of programming: resources and support, advocacy and policy, and community engagement. NDSS offers a 1-800 helpline and info email box that anyone can reach out to at any time. We also develop resources and information covering birth to end of life on all topics, including education, employment, health and wellness, aging, many of which we will be covering today. There we go. NDSS advocates at the federal, state, and local levels. We develop and improve laws to positively impact people with Down syndrome across the country and affirm their human rights. Our legislative agenda spans the life experience of individuals with Down syndrome. NDSS also offers scholarships and grants, leads the National Buddy Walk program and the Times Square video presentation, runs the Down Syndrome Ambassador program, and hosts a variety of awareness building and fundraising events throughout the year. In the next few months, we have several events lined up that we'd love for you to join. We'll be hosting our annual gala and auction March 7th in New York City, where we'll be honoring the legendary actor Chris Burke of the TV show Life Goes On and honoring Down syndrome representation in film and media. We also hope you can join us for our Down Syndrome Advocacy Conference on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. on March 21st, as well as our virtual Racing for 321 event happening all throughout the month of March as well. If you're interested in joining one of our events, you can head to ndss.org/events. Lastly, for your reference, today we will be discussing resources that fall under these 3 programs in this order, beginning with our education program. NDSS's education program works to develop a continuum of systems-level supports for students with Down syndrome and their families. We believe access to an education is a civil right, and the opportunity to learn is the key to a fulfilling life and the foundation of an equitable society. In pursuit of our mission to advance inclusive education across the country, the NDSS education team provides resources, programming, and supports for families, educators, and advocates. We work to influence policy at the federal, state, and local levels to ensure that people with Down syndrome can access the education to which they are entitled and that the quality of that education is continually improved. With that, I'll toss things over to Amy, who will dive right in.
Inclusive education. The Inclusive Education Guidelines were made in collaboration with Down Syndrome International and was originally based off the UK version that was created in 2012. The Inclusive Education Guidelines aims to improve the development and educational outcomes for individuals with Down syndrome from birth to adult life by providing educators, therapists, early interventionists, parents, schools, and districts with a guide to evidence-based practice. It addresses the education setting that supports students with Down syndrome, covering the period from early intervention and primary education through secondary and into higher education, with the primary focus being K through 12 students. The learning profile was made in collaboration with Sue Buckley, a psychologist in the UK who dedicated her life to studying the learning profile of individuals with Down syndrome. The learning profile outlines strengths and challenges associated with the main aspects of the specific learning profile for young people with Down syndrome, as well as the unique range of sensory, physical, and cognitive needs of this group of learners. And as you can see, it is short, visually appealing, and easy to read, and should be shared with educators as much as possible. Best practices documents are a shorter breakdown of some of the information listed in the Inclusive Education Guide. The guide is quite large, so these short 4-page breakdowns are a great idea for teachers who may not have unlimited time to read a large document. They are specific to age and are broken up into 3 age groups: early intervention, elementary and middle school, and high school. The inclusion checklist is a helpful tool for parents to start a conversation with their school team to see how inclusive their programs and staff are. There is also a document geared towards higher education. A good example of an item on this checklist is the general education classroom, the predominant learning environment. And Miss Charlotte, if you are ready, I'm going to toss things over to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Charlotte Wardrobe, and I am the Education Program Associate at the National Down Syndrome Society. In my role as the Education Program Associate, I prepared a one-pager that can help self-advocates be well-prepared to participate in their IEP meetings. This can be found on our website at NDSS.org. Among the tips I provided for self-advocates, there are 2 that I especially want to stress. One is the importance of advocating to be included in the general education curriculum and standing up for yourself if anyone appears to have low expectations for you. When I was transitioning from middle school to high school, the program director of the high school's separate special education program wanted to put me into that program based solely on me having Down syndrome. I had to advocate, along with my family, for my right to access the general education curriculum and was ultimately successful. And I graduated with a standard high school diploma, which allowed me to pursue higher education. Unfortunately, many educators tend to have low expectations for students with Down syndrome and believe that segregated special education programs are the only option for people with Down syndrome. I believe that inclusion should always be the default, with any necessary accommodations provided to help self-advocates be successful, which is why I always advocate for inclusion. I believe that self-advocates with Down syndrome rise to high expectations, not low expectations. My high school special education program director had low expectations for me without even knowing anything about me, other than the fact that I was born with Down syndrome. Students with Down syndrome and other disabilities have inherent value and worth and deserve to be treated with respect and dignity everywhere, including in educational settings. I would like to share a few accommodations that were in my high school IEP and how they helped me. In high school, some accommodations I used were mnemonics, preferential seating, and having daily check-ins with my case manager. The mnemonics helped me remember the information that was taught in a way that was easy for me to understand. I was also assured of classroom seating up front, which helped me see the teacher and the whiteboard. This helped me not be distracted and meant that I didn't miss anything important. I also benefited from daily check-ins with my case manager, who made sure that I was staying on track and who helped me if I ever needed any additional assistance. Thank you so very much for letting me speak to you today.
Thank you so much. So looking slide today to resource. And on the next slide, you'll find the direct links to all of the resources that Charlotte and I just went over for our education program. And they will also be available to click on when the slides are shared with you in the next week or so.
All right. Thank you so much, Amy and Charlotte. So that wraps up what we were going to be discussing about resources in our education program today. And now we're going to move into our some resources from our health and wellness program. The NDSS Health and Wellness Program promotes improved health and well-being for all individuals with Down syndrome. Through collaboration with many NDSS affiliate organizations across the country, researchers, government agencies, and other key stakeholders, NDSS develops tailored and accessible resources for individuals with Down syndrome, their families, and caregivers, many of which Amy will be diving into shortly. Addressing topics across the lifespan from prenatal diagnosis to aging adults, NDSS offers guides, one-pagers, online resources, and conferences to provide information and to support the Down syndrome community.
First, we're going to begin with our resources that families can utilize even more. Is a comprehensive Down syndrome specifically written for their parents. This booklet includes sections on healthy starts, early intervention therapies, how to find support and care for your family, and what the future holds for your child. This guide is really a congratulatory read and a great place for new parents to start. This is a great example of an NDSS resource that would be placed in a baby welcome basket, taken to a local hospital in your area for distribution, or given out during a new family celebration. And next, our Aging and Down Syndrome, a Health and Wellbeing Guidebook, was created by NDSS in partnership with the National Task Force Group of Intellectual Disabilities and Dementia Practices, also known as the NTG, and the Alzheimer's Association. This second edition guidebook was released to provide guidance, education, and support for families and caregivers of older adults with Down syndrome. This aging guidebook emphasizes the importance of a healthy lifestyle in coordinating medical care and support. It includes descriptions of common medical conditions older adults with Down syndrome might face and what kind of healthcare provider a person would see for that condition. It also outlines how to plan for successful aging and how that might look different for different individuals and families. This is a strong and sensitive topic in our community now, with individuals with Down syndrome living longer, so I strongly encourage you to look at this one and ensure that families in your community have it too. The Caregiving and Down Syndrome Guidebook was produced by NDSS in partnership with the NTG and the National Alliance for Caregiving. The guidebook provides a high-level overview of important information regarding guardianship, creating a support plan, housing, and self-care for caregivers. This is an especially helpful tool for older siblings or family friends who have recently become caregivers of an adult with Down syndrome. And now we'll be moving into some guides that provide support on some of the more difficult conversations within the Down syndrome community. The Alzheimer's Disease and Down Syndrome, a practical guidebook for caregivers, was also created by NDSS in partnership with NTG and the Alzheimer's Association. This guidebook was released specifically for those caring for an individual with Down syndrome diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. This guidebook discusses the biological connection between Down syndrome and Alzheimer's disease, arriving at a diagnosis, treatment options, communication and behavior strategies, and planning for the future. In December 2023, NDSS and leading expert Dr. Michael Raffi hosted a webinar titled Alzheimer's Disease in People with Down Syndrome, What We Know and What We Can Do About It. The webinar focused on the latest understanding of Alzheimer's disease, recent advances in diagnostic testing and treatments, and why individuals with Down syndrome are at a high risk for developing Alzheimer's disease. The entire recording of this webinar is available for free on the NDSS website. And now, one of the most difficult topics of all, we have our End of Life and Down Syndrome Guidebook. Towards the challenging crossroads and decisions that arise in late life and at the end of life, this guidebook aims to provide proactive guidance for those difficult discussions and situations. This was created by NDSS in partnership with NTG and Alzheimer's Association. And as many of you know, in recent years, regression has been a growing topic with our adolescent and young adult community. We're so fortunate to have a resource made in partnership with leading expert Dr. Jonathan Santoro. The 3-page Down syndrome regression disorder checklist. The first 2 pages define and discuss what DSRD is, and the 3rd page is a checklist of symptoms for families to fill out, which can then be shared with their loved one's physician to help determine next steps. In addition to the checklist, NDSS and Dr. Santoro collaborated on a short video resource that accompanies the written guides. In just around 5 minutes, Dr. Santoro walks through the key points of the checklist, how it should be used, and provides critical information pertaining to this resource. This short video was made as we know that caregivers often don't have time to sit down and read an entire resource. In September 2023, NDSS and Dr. Santoro hosted a webinar titled Updates on Down Syndrome Regression Disorder, What You Need to Know. The webinar focuses on signs and symptoms of DSRD, the recommended workup for the condition, and treatment options. The recording of this webinar is also available for free on the NDSS website. And as I mentioned earlier, I have an aging brother with Down syndrome who is 42 and has experienced some significant regression. So I can personally emphasize with this heavy and difficult topic. And next we'll look at our self-advocacy at medical appointments document. This 2-page tool is for self-advocates to complete prior to attending a medical appointment, which will assist them in participating more independently in their appointments. It is very visually appealing and should be helpful for individuals with Down syndrome of all ages. Next, we're going to jump right over into our 3, 2, 1, go program guide, which is for adults with Down syndrome.
I'm Candace Whiting, and I love the 3, 2, 1, go program because it keeps me active and it helps me eat better and emotionally healthy. I recommend this program for anyone that wants to live a healthy lifestyle.
Amazing. As Candace mentioned, the guide teaches the basics of physical activity, balanced nutrition, and emotional wellness, and encourages learners to adopt healthy habits. There's an option to add on a fitness kit, which includes the printed program guide, exercise cards featuring photos of individuals with Down syndrome doing the exercises, a blow-up exercise ball, resistance bands, a water bottle, and a drawstring bag. Lots of goodies. The program is fun for groups, families, and friends, and is a ready-to-go program for affiliates like yourselves to use in your community. And that wraps up the resources from our health and wellness team we wanted to share with you today. And again, these are all available to download for free on our website, and you will receive a copy of these slides with the directing links.
All right, next we're going to delve right into our employment program resources. So we're rolling right along. Just a little bit about the NDSS employment program. So the NDSS employment program seeks to increase access to the workforce for all people with Down syndrome through collaboration with a variety of NDSS affiliate organizations, employers, government agencies, and other key stakeholders. NDSS creates meaningful change in the professional lives of people with Down syndrome across the country. Specifically, NDSS advocates for policies that increase access to competitive integrated employment for individuals, provides valuable resources, support, and training to the community, offers technical assistance to corporations, and highlights the success of employees and business owners with Down syndrome.
Okay, and before we dive into some of our resources, I'd like to mention that over the next year, we will be highlighting individuals with Down syndrome in the workplace. If you know someone with Down syndrome who would like to tell their story of successful employment, NDSS would love to share their story. And if you are a Down syndrome affiliate, this is a great opportunity to engage your members and partner with us at NDSS to highlight amazing work being done in your community. The NDSS Entrepreneurship Guide was created with several entrepreneurs with Down syndrome and a few Down syndrome organizations. Some of you may have heard of John Cronin, co-founder of John's Crazy Socks. John is also on our board of directors and has a short message for you.
Hi, my name is John. This is my partner, my dad, Mark. We have John's Crazy Socks.
John's Crazy Socks. Hey, John, we're talking to some people who may want to be entrepreneurs.
I am an entrepreneur. I started my own business.
John's Crazy Socks, right?
That's right.
And we hear a lot from entrepreneurs or people who may want to start their own business. And if you want a great guide and you want some help, check out the NDSS Entrepreneurship Guide. You helped write it.
Yes, it is.
You contributed to that. It helps answers 3 basic questions. 1, what is an entrepreneur? 2, is entrepreneurship a good fit for you? And 3, how can you get started? You think it's a good thing to run your own business?
Yes, it is.
But it's not for everybody, is it?
Right.
Okay. So if you want some help getting started, check out the NDSS Entrepreneurship Guide.
Thanks, John. We always love hearing from our entrepreneurs. And as John mentioned, being a business owner isn't for everybody. The guide was designed to introduce entrepreneurship for those considering starting their own businesses. And we have one more quick message from an entrepreneur, Allison from Doggy Delights by Allison, to share with you.
Hello, my name is Allison Fogarty. I am an entrepreneur. I have been a dog treat chef since 2017. You will find great advice in the NDSS Entrepreneurship Guide. It is so important to think things through before diving into starting a business. For example, is entrepreneurship right for you? This guide will help you decide. I became an entrepreneur because I have many health challenges and need a flexible schedule. My passion is cooking, and being my own boss means that I can appoint myself as the dog treat chef. The most helpful part to me is the list of resources in the guide. My sidekicks and I needed a lot of help to get started. We didn't know anything about running a business. It is so important that you have people that you can turn to for help when you need it. So if entrepreneurship is something that you are considering, you have come to the right place. To get started, download the NDSS Entrepreneurship Guide now, and good luck to you on your employment journey.
Great job, Allison. Thank you. Continuing on, we're next going to talk about our financial wellness guidebook. The guidebook was created in collaboration with the Voya Cares program and Voya Financial. This guidebook provides comprehensive information and solutions to address the unique and oftentimes fluctuating financial needs of the disability community. This guide is for individuals with disabilities, their families, and caregivers. It covers a range of topics in the guide, including the basics of financial wellness, special needs trust, ABLE accounts, government benefits, and more. Next up is our Partnering for Career Success Guide. This guide is a resource for employers, people with Down syndrome and their families looking to attain competitive integrated employment in their community. It covers topics such as career exploration choices, workplace best practices, self-advocate stories, and more. And now we'll look at the resume guide, checklist, and template. If your loved one with Down syndrome is currently job searching or looking to update their resume, they can elevate their job application game with this tool. It was created to help streamline the resume building process. The guide provides guidance on what to include in your resume, a user-friendly checklist, and a downloadable template, which can provide a solid foundation for showcasing their skills and experiences. This tool is helpful and a wonderful place to start updating or update their current resume. Excuse me. Our Guide Me and Watch Me Succeed was designed to support employers as they train their employees with Down syndrome. This can be a fantastic resource to share directly with an employer to help them better understand how to support individuals with Down syndrome in the workplace. My personal favorite guide point is the prioritization of time estimation. If the loved ones in your life are anything like my brother, we all know that they move at their own speed and the pace that they want. So this is a helpful tool for employers to guide their employees to set them for success. The last employment tool we'll highlight is our dress code guide, which is a concise infographic resource designed to easily differentiate between casual, and business professional attire. And it also features 2 NDSS employees, Charlotte and Alex. Once again, you'll find the direct links to all of the resources we just covered in the employment program. They will all be available to click on once the slides are shared with you. Thank you again for allowing us the opportunity to share and highlight many of our incredible resources available to you for free. It is our hope that you will use these guidebooks within your communities to support the needs of the families and the loved ones that you serve.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amy. You did such a terrific job. As Amy mentioned, all of these are available on our website for free and are able to be downloaded for free. And again, we will share them with you in the coming week. We're going to close for today, but I just wanted to reiterate again that these are just a handful of the resources we have here at NDSS. We have many, many more on our website. Some also published by NDSS, and some are just really the most up-to-date research and information on a variety of topics, from different health issues pertaining to Down syndrome to various employment opportunities going on. So there's a lot going on our website, which is why we wanted to host this webinar today, and hope that you found some of this to be helpful and insightful on some of the work that we have. If you would like to work with our team to purchase hard copies, you can reach out to us at info@ndss.org. And if you have program or guide specific questions for individuals of our program teams, you can email them at health, employment, or education@ndss.org. Thank you so much again for attending today's webinar. We hope that you found it helpful and that our resources here at NDSS can continue to support the Down syndrome community throughout the country. Thank you.
Thank you.